So recording is in progress. All good. Let me share my screen. Minimize this, and this is what we don't want. So we already have Visual Studio. So in today's class we will see how to install. No, it is not about installation. How to create. Yeah. How to create a var file and how we are going to deploy it. So for that I have a text file that I have stored it somewhere for the points. Git command sonar cube maven. Yeah, this one. Open this. Yeah. So there are few things that we need to follow these steps for installing. So in today's class what we are going to see is we are going to complete Maven today. So Maven installation. So as usually we are launched into this Visual Studio Code. So the idea here is we want to install Maven. Once the Maven was installed, after that we are going to create a var file for that Maven, that is web archive file, and then that web archive file we will post it, we will load it into Tomcat and we will see the result. So that is the idea in today's class. Okay. So now let us see how this will work, and let us see how this will work. Okay. So for this, these are the steps involved in it. So it involves two things. To create a Maven based web project, it involves two things. Phase 1, in first phase, what we want to do here is Java must be installed. Yes, on our system Java is already installed. So we need to download Maven. We need to download Maven, first step. Second step, we need to set up the Maven path. Maven path. Okay, these two steps we will do now. So let us go into this one, VMware, and then here what we are going to do is we are going to download Maven. So for downloading Maven, let us copy this path. I will share this file with you. You can also follow the steps similarly. So I am going to download Maven here. Yeah. So in the last class also we have seen some Maven, that is just a Maven creating a Java project. That's it. So this is not required. Just close this one. These are all old files which we don't want actually. Let us go to Google. So then paste this Maven link. Then we will try to. This is the link for Maven. So we will be downloading Apache Maven. Let us come here. So here we will be having lot of files. So you need to select this one. See, the same thing I had mentioned in this file also. You have to download the .zip file. Apache Maven latest. This will be the version. This will be the latest version. For understanding, I will write it as version. Latest version. Latest version. So we need to download the latest version. So the latest version it is shown here. So we need to download the binary zip archive. So we need to download the binary zip archive. So the same is mentioned here. So the same I mentioned here, latest version bin.zip. Okay. So go to this one and download this. Just click on this, it will automatically download it. So it is very small file. It will take no time to download. So it is a very small file. You need not to worry. It is downloaded. So now come here. Yeah, that is it is finished. It is finalizing. Once this is done, will be there in the downloads folder. Go to downloads folder and just do a refresh. Yeah. So once this is done, right click on this, copy to C drive. Let us copy this to C drive. Paste it here. Continue. Then what we need to do is we need to extract this. So extract all. just click on extract all. It will be extracted to this folder. So extract. And we don't want this file anymore, this zip file. You can delete this, shift delete. You can delete this, continue. So that will be deleted, but however we will be having this file. We will be having this file. Okay. So the download and extraction part is done. So that is step 1 in phase 1 is done. So we are setting up Maven now. So this is done. So now the next step is, let us go to edit environment variables. The next step is we need to set up Maven home. So edit environment variables. So environment variables. So here we have Java home. So here we need to create in system variables. So actually this we need to create here. Java home also. I will do Java home first. Java home in system variables. So we need to copy browse directory. So or else you can also browse for file, no worries. So it will be checking for the file. Then browse directory. So go to directory, library, C drive, library, PC, this PC. C drive, go to C drive. In C drive we have program files. In program files we have Java. In Java we have JDK. Select this. So this you can say Java home. This is actually not required. You can delete this. So this Java home is set up here, somewhere here. There is Java home. Yeah, Java home was set up. And now let us go for another one, that is Maven home. Maven underscore home. And then let us browse directories. So in C drive again, in C drive we have this one. We need this up to this parent folder. Okay, click OK. Okay. Then again environment variables, and then we need to edit the path variable. So we have to edit this path variable. Say edit. So path Java home bin. Similarly, we need to new. We will be creating a Maven home /bin. So Maven. Remember all these steps we are doing it for. It is process of installing of Maven. So it is just configuring Maven in your local system. Okay, click OK. Okay. So environment variables were set for Maven home. So once that is done, we need to check whether Maven is set up or not. So go to command prompt. Click on command prompt. Say mvn -version. -v is enough, I think. mvn v -v. So here you can see Apache Maven. Apache Maven is in this folder. Apache Maven home is this folder. So here you can see Java is also installed, and this is in this folder. And you can see this Maven is also installed. So Maven is also installed. Okay. So it is referring to Maven version 3.9.9. That is what we have downloaded. So okay, Maven is now configured. So Maven home is also configured. Okay, now what is the next step? So let us check what is the next step. Step 3. So we have verified that. Now open Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. So now go for minimize this. So come here and open. This is no more required. You can close this. This is also not required. We will be closing this. Open Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, go to the extensions pack. So the extensions one, and then let us see what are the things that we require. So we require Java Project Manager and Maven for Java. Java Project Manager and Maven for Java. Usually in the last class we took an extension, that is extension pack for Java. It is already installed. So these two things will also be installed by default. Let us just cross check. Project Manager for Java, it is already installed. It is ready, already installed. What is the another one here is Project Manager for Maven. Project Manager. What is the next one? That is Project Manager for Maven. Maven for Java. Maven for Java, sorry, Maven for Java, Maven for Java. I think this should also be installed. Maven for Java, it is already installed. Maven for Java, it is already installed. So both these of them are already installed. If you had not installed, install it and just restart this Visual Studio. So restarting Visual Studio is close and open. That's it. So now what is the next step? So the next step is now create Maven web project in VS Code. So now we need to create a Maven web project in VS Code. So once that is done, we need to clean the package for the var file. So how to create Maven web project in VS Code? So now let us go for Maven and then we need to create. So here reload all these things, Maven pack life cycle. So what we need to do here is we need to create a new project. So Java projects, no, this is not the thing. We need to create a new project here. New project. Click on new project. It will become, you will be seeing this again. This is the project setup wizard. So here in Maven, if you click on plus, you will be getting this. So here we need to set up a Maven archetype. Earlier we had just gone with quick start. Now we are going for webapp. Maven archetype webapp. Okay, and the version is the latest version 1. So here what we are going to do here is we are going to say it as Maven web project. Maven web PRJ. Okay, Maven web project, press enter, and then it is again web app. We will call it as Maven web app, MVN web app, Maven web app. Okay, so this is the name of the project. So just press enter, and then where you want it. So we want it in my works, and let us we will call it as new folder. We will create a new folder. Let me call it as webapp, and we will select this folder as destination folder. Let us see, it will be creating a Maven project. See, it is going for a Maven web project is being created in snapshot. Just go with usual version 1 snapshot, and then packages Maven web project. Build is successful. Terminal is used, and then now we want to open this. Just click on open. So here you can see, yes, I trust these authors. So here we can see Maven web app. So this is Maven Java project. This is Maven pack. This is not required at the moment. We can close this. So now we can see a Maven web app. Okay. So yes. My works. Okay. Now you can see there is a source file. In source file in web.inf we have web.xml index.jsp. So this is the file. Index.jsp is the JSP stands for Java server pages. So here we are creating a Java project. So this is a simple HTML we are creating, and then this simple HTML we are adding here. Let us first run this particular HTML file, and then let us see how a var file is created. So a var file need to be created in Target, as you know. So before that we need to go for pom.xml. So in pom.xml what we need to do here is we need to update this to 1.8. We need to update this to 1.8, and then just to save this. Yes, build file is modified. Just refresh this. And then you can click on the Maven project, and you can click on the Maven project here. You can let us go to this Maven web project. Then here there is nothing. So let us go to terminal. View view terminal. So the project will be here. We have opened this. So now what we need to do here is so the next step is we want to Maven clean package. Maven clean package. Maven clean package is the command for creating the web archive file. Maven clean package. So this will create. So now you can see in targets we will be getting a file. So here you can see this is the var file. This is the var file. Understood? Maven webapp.var, web archive file. Var stands for web archive file. jar stands for Java archive file. So Java archive file is a different one, but web archive where we will be seeing it on the website. Okay. So now we have just created this. We have just created this web archive file. So this is step 1. So in target you can see. In target there is webapp.var. Here we can see this is webapp.var. We cannot preview this. We cannot preview this. This is an web archive file. Like that, if you want, you can see this. So the output of this particular thing is you are going to see hello world. That's it. But however, you will be seeing it through a web server. Through a web server. Okay. So let us come here. The first phase. So that is first phase, creating a Maven based web project in Visual Studio is completed. So the first phase is completed. So what we have did, we had downloaded Maven, we had set up Maven home, and then we have verified the installation, open Visual Code, and then we had added the following extensions. These extensions are already added. For a new user you have to check it, but we had already created a Java app. So that is why this is need not to worry about this one. Now we are going to create a Maven web project in VS Code. So just click on the Maven projects and the plus symbol. You will be seeing the web projects option, and then building the project for the var file. You need to just clean this. Okay. So now what we want to do is in phase 2 we need to install set up the Apache Tomcat in Visual Studio, and we need to load the var file into the Tomcat. So that is the idea. So for that what we are going to do here is, so now this is done. This is already done. Now step 2. So now we will create a var file. This is also done. So now what in step 3? So install community web server. We need to go for community web server connector extension in the Visual Studio Code. In the Visual Studio Code. So here what we are going extension. So here the extension name is community server. The extension name is community server connector. Community server connector. So actually Tomcat was there earlier as a default one, but that was not available now. So you can see Tomcat for Java. So this is no more available. This is deprecated. Deprecated in the sense it is removed from. It is removed as an extension. However, as a part of community server, you can install it. So here you can see. Use community server connectors here. Just click on community server connector. So now we will be installing this. Once we have installed this, it will be installed in no time. In community server connector, you can add how many servers you want. Yeah, this is done. So once this is done, you can just go on the Explorer. So here you can see servers. A new option server is added. A new option server is added. Okay. So community server, a new option server is added. Give some time for this. So now the next step what we want to do here is click here. We want to download a server. It is asking, do you want to download a server? Yes. Which server do you want to download? There are number of servers that are available. These are the default servers. These are the various other servers. So Apache Tomcat 11 M6 is available. But however, that is not a stable version. We will go with a stable version. Stable version means which is used for many number of times. The latest versions are usually not stable with respect to servers. That is why usually we will be select the a version before, that is the one. So we are selecting this, click continue, click it is select continue to go to next step. Yes, continue. So do you agree the license? Yes, I will agree the license. So once this is done, the Tomcat is being downloaded and it will be added. So the Tomcat server here is added. So here you can see Apache Tomcat with this version is added to our servers community. Okay. So we don't want to do this. We don't want anymore this one. And then what is the next step? Right click, start server. Right click, start server. So server will be started. So starting. So here you can see, just let me drag a bit more this one. Here you can see server is started. Server is started. So now you can see publish full server and then right click, show output channel. Show output channel. Here it will be showing somewhere localhost. Server actions, publish full, and then right click, server actions, show in browser. Show in browser. Localhost 8080. Yes. Here you can see localhost 8080. The Tomcat server is added. Tomcat server is added. Okay. So your server is already added. So now we need not to worry. So now we want to, into the server, we want to keep our WAR file, web archive file. Once you can keep your web archive file into that server, so then obviously you can see the, we are going to see this in the website. Okay. So for that, right click, add deployment. So file, you want to add a file. So which file you want to add? So go to target. Here there is a web archive file. Select file deployment. We don't want to edit any, we will go with the default. So this is already started. So now you can click on this server actions, show in browser. It will ask what to show. We want to see web app. We want to see web app on server. Hello world is added. Hello world is, you can see hello world, you can see this. So this is the one that what we are adding, we are seeing on the web. Okay. So let me try whether you can see this or not from your browsers. Okay. Minimize this, new folder, click on new folder. No, not new folder, we want a text file, sorry, delete, we want a text file, notepad, paste it here. Instead of localhost, give the external IP of our machine. What is the external IP of our machine? So VM instances, copy this external IP and paste it here. Control A, Control C. So now what we are, I want to say is put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Control V. Can all of you try this? Can all of you try this? No, refresh. No, we are not getting it in the external world still. Okay, that is not our idea. So for external world, actually we need to do it, configure the server. It should not be, it is not possible from a Visual Studio, but we need to install it a Tomcat on the as a web server itself. So, but now it is an extension on Visual Code only for working purpose. Okay, fine. So now let us modify this particular index.jsp. So let me add another heading h3. Let me add another heading h3. These are not required. Sorry. Another heading h3. So this is my Tomcat extension in VS Code. Okay, just to save this, and let us see whether this is modified or not. No, this is not modified. So what we need to do here again, go to terminal and then again clean the project. Maven clean package. Again webapp.rar will be modified. Yeah, this is modified. New webapp, we got a new webapp. So webapp assembled in 45, it is a new one. So now what we are going to do here is, so now again check. Yes, now you can see. Okay, like this we can update. So the other steps are normal. So we have already modified this. Just let us go for git status. So there are number of files that we need to add. Git add. So git add space. You can say, you can come out from this because we need to add the parent directory. That is why git status. So the current directory is added. So you can say git commit -m new webapp, press enter. There are number of untracked files. So git add is not work. Git add and then git commit is done. So then git push. Okay, so git push. So usually come here and then go to GitHub. So here you can see what is that one? Class Maven repo. I think this is the one. Webapp is added. So here you can see here webapp.rar, that var file, new webapp, just now, latest commit date now. This is the recent one. Okay, like that you can push your code into Git also. Okay, so this is the one. Yep. Next, so get back to our actual syllabus. So far we have completed GCP basics, we have completed version management, we have completed build tool, we have completed. So we have completed GCP, and then we have completed version management and build tool, and then Maven, creating a project, and then in creating a project we have also creating a web app. Maven project also completed, creating a web app and deploying to Tomcat on VS Code. Yep. So these things we have completed now. The next part of the syllabus is code quality analysis. So the next part of the syllabus is code quality analysis. For code quality, what is the tool I had suggested for you? For code quality, what is the tool that I have suggested for you? So code quality analysis. Code quality analysis. So for code quality analysis, the thing that what we have suggested here is Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is the tool that what we are going to do in the next part of the syllabus. Okay. So let us call it as the next part. So code quality analysis, Sonar Cube. So before going into the details of Sonar Cube, let us understand a simple program. Let us go to Notepad. So here let me write a small for loop. I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Similarly, for I is equals to 0, I less than n, sorry, let it be j, not I. J is equals to 0, j less than n, and j plus plus. J plus plus. This is a simple for loop, right? And in this we are going to write n, sum n is equals to n plus 1. N is equals to n plus 1. N is equals to n plus 1. Let us say how many times this is going to be repeated. So what need not to worry about what the n value or something else. We want to check how many times this loop is going to be repeated. We want to check how many times this loop is going to be repeated. So for this, let me take Google Java Doodle. Java compiler. Java online compiler. Let me take a small Java online compiler. Even we can write it in this one also, but for understanding in Visual Studio Code also you can write this. So I am taking this simple code. Control C, Control V. I will modify this n to 3. I will modify this n to 3, and then here what I am going to do is I am going to just print the values. System dot out dot println I is equals to plus I plus j is equals to plus j. Okay. So this is the one. Let us see what it is going to print. Just run this program and we need to declare the values of I and j. Let us say int I and int j. Int I and int j. Run. Here you can see when the value of, let me run this again. When the value of I is 0, when the value of I is 0, j is 0. Value of I is 0, but j is repeated for 3 times. J is 1, j is 2, j is 3. J is 2, 0, 1, 2. Similarly, when I value becomes 1, j is repeated again for 3 times. J loop, inner loop is repeated for 3 times. When I value becomes 2, then the j value is again repeated for 3 times. That means this loop is repeated for how many times? 3 into 3 times. Let me change this value to 4. Let me change this value to 4. What happens now? This statement is going to be repeated for 16 times. This statement is going to be repeated for 16 times. When I value is 0, j value is executed for j0, j1, j2, j3. That means j is repeated 4 times. For every iteration of I, j is repeated for 4 times. That means this time it is executed for 4 into 4 number of times. 4 into 4 number of times. That means the order of this loop is going to be order of n square. Order of n square. That means this particular statement is going to be repeated for n square times. This particular statement is going to be repeated for n square times. For n square times it is going to be repeated. Okay. So let us say you have only one for loop. You have only one for loop. There is no j. Remove this j. Remove this j. What happens now? This loop is repeated for n times. This loop is repeated for n times. Okay. This loop is repeated for n times. For example, if I say math dot sqrt of 4. Math dot sqrt of 4. Let us run this. How many times it is going to be repeated? It is going to be repeated for 2 times. For example, if I say sqrt of 9, it is going to be repeated for 3 times. If I say sqrt of 25, then it is going to be repeated for 5 times only, not even n times. That means if you say sqrt of 35, now see, it is also going to be repeated only for 5 times again. It is going to be repeated. It is repeated for 6 times. Math.sqrt of 25. So it is not converted into integer. So let me convert this into integer. int. Run. It is repeated only for 5 times. It is repeated because the square root will be written a float. It is converted to 6. So that is why it is repeated for 5 times earlier. If you already convert it to integer, so then it is only it will be taking 5. What is square root of 35? If you go and check on a calculator, what is square root of 35? Square root of 35. View, go for scientific. And then here it will be having a square root. Where is the square root? Yeah, here this is square root. Square root of 35. Square root of 35. Here you can see 5.9. It is very close to 6. But when you convert it into integer, these points will be removed. So only it will be 5. So when you put a square root on n, the order of that loop is going to be square root of order of n power 2. That means number of times a loop is repeated. Number of times a loop is repeated. So if it is order of n square, then it is going to be repeated for more times. If it is order of n, it is order of n, it is going to be repeated for n times. It is going to be repeated for n times. So if it is going to be order of n, square root of n, order of square root of n. So we don't have the symbol for square root on the keyboard. So let me say it as sqrt. Sqrt of n. So now you can see the number of times this is going to be repeated is more than this, and even this is more than this. So now you can see, if you have decreased number of times the loop is going to be repeated, such programs are called efficient programs. Such programs will take less time for execution. Such programs will take less time for execution. Understood? That means number of times a loop repeated need to be decreased. Number of times a loop repeated need to be decreased. So for in that case, if we have a loop that is going to be repeated for less number of times, will be a good program. So what are the elements that decides the quality of the code? What are the elements that decides the quality of the code? So the quality of the code is determined by two things. One is space and the other one is time. What is space in a program? Number of variables. Number of variables. Number of variables. That means you have to use, space means number of variables. Space means number of variables. So if you have to use optimum number of variables such that it will not affect the space. Okay. So more space, for example, let us say you have developed an app. And it need to be installed on a mobile. The app size is 4 GB. Assume you have only 2 GB on your mobile. Can you use that app? No, you cannot use that app. So for example, if there is a latest version of that particular app which takes only 2 GB, by removing unnecessary number of variables, then it can be allowed to be installed on a 2 GB app on mobile also. Okay. So remember that the code should be space efficient. The code should be time efficient. We are not going to develop any kind of code. If the code is developed by a developer, we are going to check the quality of the code. So is that time and space efficient? Time is, what is time? More number of instructions. Number of instructions. So what you have seen in a loop? You have seen in a loop that if you write a statement, this statement is going to be executed for this many number of times. Means that it is nothing but printing this particular statement for that number of times. That's it. That this particular statement is executed for that number of times. Means that this is equivalent to 5 statements. If you put it in this loop, it is equivalent to 5 statements. If you don't add this, this is equivalent to 35 statements. If you don't have this, when I is less than 35, when you say this and run this, you can say this is repeated for 35 statements. This is equivalent to 35 statements. If you put it in a loop, like this, and if you have added j again, so j is equals to plus j, then if you run this, then you can see this is going to be repeated for say 35 times J is going to be repeated. So you can see. That means 35 into 4. 35 into 4, because this is a small compiler, it will not run that many number of statements. So even 26 it is exited with errors. But if you do it on a compiler, then you will be seeing this on your local machine. Instead of an online compiler, if you do this, 35 into 4, it is 140 statements. 140 statements. That means your program should be time efficient as well as space efficient. So how to check that? That quality analysis will be done using a tool called SonarQube. That quality analysis is done using a tool called SonarQube. Okay. So that SonarQube we will see in next class, in tomorrow. Okay. So keep practicing, keep practicing, and then so because we are teaching in parts. That is why our classes are like that. So it is something like it is less than 1 hour and it is more than 1.5 hours. So that is why I need to split it. So that is why we are getting this thing. However, it is keep practicing. That is the only thing that will help you. And I will share you that particular list how to install these two things. Keep practicing on your Visual Studio. You need not to do it on a VMware, on a Google, on GCP. You can do all these things on your local laptop. Do all these things on your local laptop. But however, if you have an issue in your local laptop, you can do it on GCP also. That is allowed to you. Okay, that's all from my side for today. Thank you all.